You may notice a different looking package when you buy fresh mushrooms at your grocery store over the next several weeks. Here to tell us more about the Pink Mushroom campaign and to cook up a mushroom recipe or a couple mushroom recipes is Clare Jones. Thanks very much for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
All right, so first off, maybe you can explain to our audience why the pink packaging.
Sure, yeah. Breast cancer is the #1 cancer among Canadian women, and I think it's touched all our lives. And diet is actually something that we can do that can control the fight against breast cancer. And that's where mushrooms fit in. Research has shown that mushrooms contain anti-tumor activity, so it can help to prevent breast cancer. And that's why Mushrooms Canada has partnered with the Breast Cancer Society of Canada.
Great.
And you'll find these pink packages in store now in most of the major grocery stores up until November 11th. And for every package that customers buy, we will make a contribution to the Breast Cancer Society of Canada.
Great. Well, I knew I had to match today too, so you know, a pretty close match.
That's
so,
right.
so that's great. And last year, $60,000 is raised.
$61,000. We're going to try and beat that this year. Yeah.
And just before we get to the recipes, we've got to get to that. We've got a variety of mushrooms here.
We do. Yes.
And why don't you just describe what we're looking at and which ones we'll be using in the recipes?
Okay, we're going to use a variety in the recipes today. We have our regular white button mushrooms. Beside that, we have the brown creminis, shiitake mushrooms there, and on the far end are oyster mushrooms. And up here is the portobello mushroom. So all kinds of varieties in the stores. Look for them. Try something different if you haven't tried them before.
So tell us about the recipes.
Okay, we're going to make 2 recipes today. One is called a squash bisque. It's a fresh mushroom squash bisque. And the other one I'm just going to do is a simple sauteed mushroom. So we'll start the sauteed mushrooms first of all. And the reason I'm doing a simple sauteed mushroom is just to remind people that if you have mushrooms in the house, which you should.
We're just having a little difficulty with your microphone. If you don't mind just bringing it up. There we go. Perfect. Okay.
Which you should, then it's great to add mushrooms to any dish, whether it's a soup, a salad, as a side dish, on a chicken breast, on a burger. It really does add that just little, oomph that you need. So maybe I'll get you to saute the mushrooms. That would be great.
Great.
And the other dish, as I said, is a squash bisque. So I've already started sauteing some onions and carrots in here, and to that I'm going to add the mushrooms. Excuse me, I'm just going to reach past you. And the thing about mushrooms is they are a nutritional powerhouse. So they're loaded with vitamins and minerals. They're also full of antioxidants, which we all should get in our diet. There's virtually no calories. There's only 14 calories in a cup of mushrooms. And there's no sodium. And yet, as I said, all these vitamins and minerals, and they are the only vegetable that has naturally occurring vitamin D. So really good for you.
That. Yeah. And they add an interesting flavor to each recipe or each dish you prepare.
They do. They really, I find, add to the flavor, really give it that oomph that you may be missing. So I've added the mushrooms to this. I'm using a variety of mushrooms today. You're sauteing the shiitake mushrooms mixed with the cremini, and I've got some white and cremini in here, which I'm sauteing too with the carrots and onions. So those are almost done. What you want to do when you're doing sauteed mushrooms is not crowd the pan too much, because the liquid does come out of them, and then they'd be steaming in their own liquid instead of.
You don't want to put too much in.
No. And so that's it. And you just saute them until they turn a little bit golden, and we're going to serve them on top of the chicken breast there.
Okay. So do you want me to pour? Would you say they're ready?
I would say they're yeah.
Okay.
Let's put those on top.
The,
now, for my bisque, I'm going to add to this some squash. So I've already cooked the squash. I've got an acorn squash here that I've previously cooked. You can do it in the microwave or you can do it in the oven. And then just stir that in with your mushrooms. And
very seasonal, isn't it, too?
That's what I was going to say, a very seasonal dish. And the thing about mushrooms, too, is if you wanted a meal made fast, easy to get a meal on the table within half an hour. And they're so versatile. You can use them in so many ways.
Okay, so first we're just looking at the reveal here of the shiitake. And what's the other type of mushroom?
The cremini, so the brown mushrooms. And as you can see, it just adds something. The chicken breast was so boring without it. Now it looks delicious and it tastes delicious. Now I'm adding some chicken stock to that.
Okay.
And what you would do is just bring this to the boil and let it simmer for probably about 20 minutes so that the squash is cooked and the mushrooms are cooked. And then what I do is put a hand blender in it to puree it, which I've already done. So this one's already done. Or you could put it alternatively in a blender or in a food processor.
Great, so you puree it.
Yep.
And then how long would you let it sit for after that?
You just bring it up to simmering temperature and it's ready. I'm just adding a little bit of fresh thyme to that.
Okay.
And then for extra flavor, a little bit of cream or milk. If you're trying to keep the calories a little lower, the fat a little lower, you can use or evaporated milk.
Okay.
And as you can see, it's really nice and rich then. And
there we go. So there's the finished product.
There it is. And we'll put it in a bowl and you can have it for lunch.
Sure. Yeah, looking forward to it. It smells great. Okay. But if you would like more information on the pink mushroom campaign and the recipe prepared today, you can find a link on our website. Just go to swo.ctv.ca and click on links and numbers. Clare Jones, thanks very much for joining us today. That looks very delicious. I'm sure our crew's going to enjoy that after the show.
Great,
Maybe Nancy too.
And our website for the pink campaign is mushroomsgopink.ca.
All right, well now you know. Ahead in sports, an all-Waterloo High School football showdown featured the Highlanders against the Vikings. Randy has sports after the break.